Now, one of my favourite records of all time is I Want You Back by Michael Jackson, and the bass riff to that is really, really complicated. However, the best way to approach something like this is just to keep it really, really slow and relaxed. So lots of people learn it in G, starting on the 3rd fret, using open strings along the way. However, if you listen to the actual recording, it's in A flat major. When I had you to myself. And then the bit at the end. That's hard, it's really hard. So, but it's very, it's a great bass line. So, starting with the main bit, this bit. Once again, if you look at my other videos, you'll see that I'm using all 4 fingers to play this riff. And it's right down this end. So, just treat it with kid gloves. And if necessary, reach with your hand just to get those notes. Ideally though, you'll have your hand splayed out like this with your thumb all the way, almost all the way around the neck, so that you can reach everything. So 4th fret E string, last finger. Stop the note with your right hand and your left hand, like that. It's important to stop each note until you when you're ready to go on to the next one. Middle finger on 2nd fret A string, then 3rd fret, next string 1st and 3rd, and then back to the A string for 4th fret. So with this hand, it's important to use alternate fingers, and that is a real rule of thumb with bass. Now, I actually used a hammer on here, where I actually played a note and then generated the next one by bringing my finger down firmly onto the note above it. So, 2, D. When you're practicing a riff slowly, it's a good idea to have a drum beat that's actually a bit faster. What I mean by faster is to have something where there is more going on between the beats. So instead of put 16ths in there. You could put a tambourine or something or a similar sound, but make sure your drum beat is in time. If you go onto Drummer on GarageBand or iOS or anything like that, make sure that everything is nicely in time so that it doesn't put you off. What I mean by that is that some of the 16th notes might be missing. So try and get something that's quite consistent all the way through, and then practice the riff really slowly with that. And that's the rest of the riff. Here we've got 1st, 3rd, 4th. Then we use an open string here and a 1, 2, 3. So it's the only open string that's used here. If you're really crabby about your open strings, because they do sound different from a fretted note, you could extend, but it's quite hard at that sort of, you know, in the first few frets of the bass. Don't worry about it too much. That's essentially the verse riff, and then the chorus one does this. Oh, sorry. It goes 6 5 3 6 4 3 6 6 3 3 4 4 6 6 4. So it's all in one position, and some of the when it first starts off, you've got a bit more of a complicated rhythm as well. But essentially it's the same thing as here, you're just generating more with your right hand. That is, you can put that in, but it's basically, that's like the brass section and the guitar as well. So then it's the last bit where it goes. Now the beat here, the riff doesn't start on the beat. 1 2 3 4, so it actually crosses the bar line as well, so you've got a note that actually straddles 2 bars. So the best thing to do with this is to set a drum rhythm with only hi-hats going. Run out of breath. But you can see that the other advantage to playing slowly, and this is something that people don't really give much thought. Why does it work if you practice more slowly? Well, actually, there's more going on than just the notes, just the fingers in both hands, for example. There's hundreds of thousands of messages passing between your ears, your eyes, your hands, all sorts of things going on to make just doing that possible. Now, it's a bit like writing a CD too quickly. If you put a CD in, it says 128 times the speed, you're going to get errors on that disc because it's working too fast and it's not able to process all the data in time. Think of yourself as a CD that you can only write at 1 times the speed, so that you've got to check everything before you write that piece of data. So stay within your comfort zone. And try and keep that line so that the notes are all pure. And only speed up when you feel absolutely confident that you can get to the next sort of tempo stage, as it were. Oh, there you go, case in point. I was talking too much as well. Good at that. So it was a 3rd fret. So if a mistake occurs, you need to kind of think of that mistake, think of the solution, and kind of divert more of your attention to that. Now, because it's this wide at the bottom here, and you're using all 4 fingers, just take 5 occasionally. It's also very good for your short-term, medium-term memory. The brain assimilates all sorts of things between practice sessions, so it's often better to do 15 minutes a day rather than whatever 15 sevens are, 105 minutes on one day. Thinking, oh yeah, because then 3 days later you would have forgotten what you've done. So. So you're always striving for rhythmic sort of purity. That was a little bit scrappy there. Just got to slow it down. etc., etc. You just work through. That is a very, very complicated riff. Really complicated. It obviously shows that the bass player had quite a lot of influence over that record. I mean, there's obviously a lot of chromatic work. So there we go. There is "I Want You Back" by Michael Jackson 5.